Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is IPM Gamer. Um, this is going to be another episode of Society 101. This podcast is going to be about government taxes, and not just government taxes. I mean, that's kind of a weird topic, but also how people who are on like kind of the average um, financial scale, even below the poverty line, are affected by government decisions and the way the government runs the country. Um, I want to start out this podcast by reading a quote by a sociologist from way back out in the 1920s. His name is Hugo Munsterberg. He's a German sociologist. And this is what he says in his book, Psychology and Social Sanity. He says, men are starving from want and are chained down like slaves to a torturing task. But let us discriminate. It is true in states of unemployment and illness, the physical man may be crushed by naked poverty. But that has nothing whatever to do with socialism. We have emphasized before that it is the solemn duty of society to find ways and means to protect everyone who is willing to work as long as he is healthy, against starvation in times of old age and sickness, and if possible in periods of market depression. When I read that, I read it at work because I'm a security guard. I work nights, and a lot of the times, in between patrols, I'll read that book, kind of be enlightened. I love sociology and stuff like that. So this guy, even though he's speaking in his time era, the 1920s and even past that. I mean, look at today. Look at what is happening today. Like I'm speaking of for Canadians. I'm a Canadian, and a lot of people, and I've even faced this challenge myself, is like you either spend money on food or you spend money on your rent. There's no in between. It's either you have a roof over your head or you don't eat. And you gotta really think, like, what is this my fault, or is it the government's fault? I'm not excluding myself from my money problems. I mean, I've made a couple of bad financial decisions in my life. When I was how old was I? I was 19 years old, and I figured, hey, I'm gonna go out and get a credit card. It was offered to me. Why not? I went out and I got a MasterCard. That was the stupidest thing I ever did. I got into debt, and I didn't know at the time how to deal with that, and it was pretty bad. And from then on, it kind of just spiraled out of control. But then the thing is, I went to when did I go to school? I went to a private college in 2007, and in that college, I studied addictions and community service work, which I graduated with honors. I did very well. It was a 1-year course, and at the time, now here's the kicker. Here's where you have to. Oops, sorry about that. Here's where you have to decide whether the situation where Is it our fault or is it the government's fault? I graduated with honors, or I finished my course, and I needed to go look for a placement. Now, in the time, I lived in Toronto. If you know, a lot of you don't know, Toronto is the biggest city in Canada. It's got probably anywhere between 3 to 5 million people. Probably a little closer to 5. Big city, huge. In the downtown area, there's a lot of drop-in centers. There's a lot of clinics for people that are suffering from addictions, substance addiction, process addiction, all these different kinds of things, and a lot of them could benefit from somebody with some background in community service or community outreach, which I did study in when I was in college. I literally, now I'm not exaggerating, I literally went to every single drop-in center, every single clinic, everywhere that would have hired an addiction counselor. And I found all the locations by a website that lists all the different places like that within the city. You just type in Toronto and there you go. It has addresses and phone numbers, and I literally went to every one of them. And you want to know what they told me? We don't have the funding. They either needed somebody with a bachelor's degree in social work, or at least 2 years experience in the field that I just finished school in, so addiction counseling. A couple of us got lucky. The rest of us, nothing. I managed to score a temporary contract with a drop-in center, but basically I was working in a kitchen, feeding the homeless, which was great. You know, I loved it. I really enjoyed it. And I also got a chance to do a little bit of administrative work. But did I do any addiction counseling? No. I did a little bit of community service work. I went to different drop-in centers to see what they do, see how they decorate their place, and I brought back the information to the boss, and he took that information and did what he wanted with it. But the thing is, I never once went into my field. And you want to know why? Because at the time, the Canadian economy, especially in Ontario, hit rock bottom. All because of a premier, an Ontario leader by the name of Mike Harris, destroyed our economy in Ontario, cut funding, and just made it so people like me could not do anything. And it's something that, it wasn't just him, you know, it was the government in general. Like they just completely shut down so many things, so many resources that, you know, people that, you know, were in the middle class and below could not recover from, could not do anything. Welfare is being taken advantage of on a almost epic scale, and the government's, you know, our prime minister recently, or, you know, well, he's not much of a prime minister, but he has been putting in a bunch of welfare bylaws that you have to find, you have to be looking for work and so on. That's a good thing, you know. You don't really want to just sit on your butt and do nothing. I mean, but a lot of people can't get the education that they want, so they don't have any marketable skills, and they sit at home because they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do with their lives. And I see it all the time. And in a place like where I live, it's not a very big city. There's a lot of, like, what do you do in your spare time to have fun for recreation use? Get drunk, get high. You know? And I feel a lot of times the government blames us. You're not doing this, you're not doing that. You're the one that's draining the economy. I mean, all the government's got to do is retrace their steps. I believe that if politicians retrace their steps, then they will see that they're a big part of the problem. You know, like I said earlier in the podcast, is that, you know, I'm not excluding any of my bad mistakes, like, or my bad decisions. I should not have gotten that credit card because I did not know how to manage it. But the thing is, I'm in debt. The student loan, because it's a private college, it was a lot more than what it would be in a more public college. It hasn't been paid because I haven't been able to find work in my field, and, you know, on a security guard salary, and with 2 kids, have fun. You know, it's you know, I got the government breathing down my neck to pay off, you know, almost $20,000 in debt. But you know, what do? Can one person fight the machine? Can I fight the machine? Can you fight the machine? The machine being the government, of course. Can we fight back? Is it protesting? Is it rallies? You know, I don't want to say it, but is this why there's so many attacks? I mean, not speaking of, you know, terrorism specifically. But is this why there's riots? Is this why there's violence? People are getting fed up. People are sick and tired of being abused. People are sick and tired of being taxed to the point where they can't survive. You know, there's a really good meme, I guess they're called. It's on, I see it on Facebook every once in a while. It says, is it right for the government to tax a person almost to the breaking point and give it to somebody who can work but refuses to? You know? The fact that the welfare system and the disability system is being abused so rampantly. I think the government really needs to take a look at, you know, how the country's been run, and I think they need to retrace their steps, lower taxes, so that the cost of living can go down, and make it so we can still earn a good wage. Like right now, the minimum wage is $11 an hour in Ontario. And they're talking about bringing it up. But if they bring up minimum wage, it's, you know, small businesses aren't going to be able to survive that. See, the middle class and down are going to suffer, while and everything above middle class is going to flourish, and is going to be like, well, you guys just aren't doing it right, you know, and shake the finger at us. I think that's wrong. I think that's stupid. And I think people like that and people in the government need to really look at the big picture. Stop being so pig-headed. Stop being so ruthless. And let's all just work together. You know, work together and make life and the world a better place instead of, you know, pissing on the little guy. I'm going to stop there. In the comment section, tell me what you think. You know, if you have comments, you know, something else that you want to talk about, something else that I can talk about in another podcast, I'd be very open to that. And you know, this is all about just getting the message out there. And for somebody that, you know, lives in society and has to suffer and struggle through it, you know, this is why I do it. And to relate to people and to let them know that, you know, you're not alone. There's other people out there suffering through the same stuff you do, and that also have opinions on the other stuff that I've talked about: the Illuminati, gay marriage, racism, science versus religion, all those things. So if you're listening to this and you like it, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel to keep up with the podcast and all the other great stuff that I have on the channel. Okay, so my name is IPM Gamer. I'm going to sign off for now, and you have a great day.